Okay, my heart is now doing better. It has stabilized. So let's jump into a recap of what went down on episode 2 of Love is Blind season 6. Amy tells her match, Johnny, that she's got an autistic brother who means the world to her, and she wants to make sure that any man she marries is okay with the idea of potentially being a caretaker for her brother in the event that her father were to pass on. She says that her father is the one who's got custody of the brother, which makes me wonder what went down with her mom and why she would not have custody. Did she reveal some news about her mom that I missed out on? Please let me know. I apologize if I missed out on something major. So Johnny, of course, is on board with that, which I do think is quite lovely. And he says that he feels the same way, that like in the event of something with his family, he would like to be with someone who's also so family oriented that they would be okay with opening up their home for family members. Now, back in the ladies' quarters, we've got AD venting to Alejandra about Matthew playing her and Amber with the same BS sappy pickup lines, and she's starting to fear that none of the men in this experiment are actually genuine. It's feeling like everybody's an F-boy in some capacity, because remember, the other guy that she has been like feeling is named Clay, and Clay is as shallow as it gets pretty much, so it's not looking too good for her. If I were AD at this point, I would just bow out and say, you know what, like my guy is not here and that's okay. She gets into the pods and she confronts Matt about playing both sides. And he of course denies it all, even though AD heard it with her own ears. He is such a gaslighting bitch. Honestly, this is the thing with like liars and cheaters. Like you can show them video evidence of them doing something and they will straight up deny it. And I know it from experience, okay? So she starts crying at this point about how she thinks of him all the time and their conversations mean a lot to her. I'm like, girl, stand up and use your brain. This man ain't shit. Like there's no reason for you to be crying to him about anything. He knows he's a bad person. He's doing it on purpose. All the other girls already were shocked she even had a connection with such a terrible person. So at what point do you get some dignity and move on, you know? Matt, at this point, sensing weakness, tells her that proposing would be one of the best moments of her life, which really stuck out to me. I was like, shouldn't it be one of the best moments of your life too? Weren't you saying in episode 1 that meeting her was your greatest accomplishment? Now, proposing to her would be one of the greatest moments of her life, not yours. Very strange there. And he starts running down a list of all the deceptive things that she is, all the deceptive feelings that she's having. And it's like, yes, AD, he knows you're feeling so well because he has purposely designed his strategy about making you feel insecure and breaking you down. He is not some wonderful, special, intuitive person. He is a scary, antisocial person. He then claims that he didn't tell Amber that he wanted to leave with her. He only told that to AD, which we know is not true. And now he's scared that she's connecting with other men. Like he's deflecting there. He didn't care before until he got caught playing both women. You know, everybody here is connecting with different people, but not everybody is saying the exact same thing to every match that they have. Those are two completely different things. So at this point, Matt is trying to gain AD's trust, and he says that he's going to cut off the other girls and focus on their relationship. And it's like, sure, Jan, I'll believe it when I see it. Meanwhile, AD has her date with Clay next, and he begs for her to give him a chance. And for whatever reason, she starts ranting about all the issues she's having in her relationship with Matt and how he is playing both she and Amber. And Clay is confused. He's like, why the hell are you talking to me about this other man? Like, that has nothing to do with me, you know? And then he is just disgusted when he finds out that the other man that AD is torn between is Matt. He's like, Matt? Freak show Matt, who doesn't even talk to anybody? Are you kidding me? He was disgusted. I feel like AD's value in his mind dropped a little bit when he heard that. He's like, there's got to be something wrong with you for you to be into this guy. And then his ego was hit because like that's like the reject, right, of the men's quarters. You know, he's like, really, that's what I'm up against? Like, I thought I was the bomb.com. I guess not, you know? So at this point, Clay leaves the date and he's in the men's quarters, and then he's just like talking about the love triangle, and he breaks down crying. And then he's like, listen, some like random white guy who was on the couch with him, I would understand if it was you, you know, like you're a dope guy. But I'm like, wait a minute, Clay, Kenneth is next to you too. And Kenneth is a nice, dope guy. Kenneth's got a nice, grown-ass, responsible-ass job. Why did you only say this guy? Are you saying Kenneth ain't cute? Kenneth ain't all that? I don't know. but that really stuck out to me. And I don't know enough about the white guy to know what Kenneth meant by that, but just like looking at all three of them, he wasn't special to me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing. Like I feel like Clay should have just said if it were one of you guys, instead of just like pointing that guy out, but I digress. Meanwhile, back in the ladies' quarters, AD decides to talk to Amber about the Matt situation. And Amber, she was so sweet about it all. She's like, oh my God, I had no idea that he was playing us both. Like, I didn't know that by saying that I was going to be hurting you. So I completely, seriously, unreservedly apologize for hurting you and just like making you feel like your connection wasn't genuine. And I'm like, now that's a girl's girl. I really like her. And she's got good, high self-esteem, because at that point she's like, listen, this man ain't shit. There's no one else here that I'm connecting with, so I'm just gonna leave. You know, she's not here to be on TV, waste her time. She's a grown woman with grown women things to do at home, so she leaves. And I was like, yes, AD, why don't you follow behind her? Because you know Matt ain't shit. You know Clay ain't shit. So why aren't you going with Amber? Like, why don't you show people that you too have self-esteem? You know what I mean? So I was quite disappointed to see her stay there, because like it probably felt to her like, oh, I won now that she's out, he's gonna like really only focus on me. But a bad person's a bad person. It doesn't matter. Like, he'll find someone else to triangulate you with, you know? Like, you don't want to be with that guy. You shouldn't want to be with that guy anyway. Now, Kenneth, he starts talking to his match, Brittany, about speaking at his mother's funeral when he was only 12 years old. And he really likes Brittany because she used to be a teacher and he is a principal. So they're really into like this educator kind of vibe and fold and whatnot. I gotta ask, I don't remember, like, is 25 years old too young to be a principal? Is it like a bit young to be a principal? Because I don't know. I didn't know that principals can be so young. I do remember on Married at First Sight, there was that guy. He suffered from depression and he was married to Kelly. I forgot his name, but he also was a principal and he was like 26 or something like that, or 27 at the time. So I'm like, are American school principals just super young? Because I don't remember them being that young when I was in school. You know, I thought they were in their 40s or something like that, but I digress. And I do also have to ask, and hopefully this isn't an insensitive question, but it's a bit amazing to me how many people have like parents who have died this season. Like, I feel like these people are all so young. I could have sworn I counted at least 5 parents who have passed away. So like, there's a lot going on in that capacity. Like, I'm older than these people. I am 30 years old, and my friends, like, only like 1 or 2 have a parent who has passed away. You know what I mean? So to me, in this like kind of age pool, to have so many, and it's such a small concentrated group, it's 30 people in total, I believe. And then we've got already like 5 dead parents. Like, wow, I don't remember it being like this in other seasons. So it's something that has really stuck out to me. Now, flipping things over to Johnny and Amy. Amy talks about how like she loves to eat her junk food. She doesn't really go to the gym like that, but like, you know, she's just living her life. And so Johnny, he's like, listen, you just stay the way you are. I would never want to change you. I love you the way you are. Oops, did I say love? And so that's how they start dropping the L word amongst each other. It was just very cute, very organic, and I do love that for them. Here's the thing though. Amy typically goes for men of color. And so Johnny, being blonde hair, blonde eyelashes, blonde eyebrows, blue eyes, it's going to be interesting to see her reaction to him in person. Meanwhile, Chelsea is back in her pods apologizing to Jimmy for crying over his reaction in episode 1 to her being divorced. And he's like, listen, I don't really care about you being divorced. It's not a big deal. And it's just so funny to me how she built it up to be such a huge thing and he just couldn't care any less. Listen, a divorce is just a legal breakup, you know, like, who cares? You know, it's a completely different story from someone having a child, you know, when you having to fit your life around a child and whatnot as well. So like, he's like, listen, someone with a child, someone who's been divorced, which one is more complicated? Let's be for real here, you know? And I gotta say, Jimmy sounds so bland and boring. I don't know how he's got like so many women into him. Like, Chelsea asks him to like state or plan his ideal day, and it was just like the most boring thing ever. And I was like, dude, like, you're so dull. Like, what is the spark? What is the magic that these girlies are seeing with you? Because I would not be able to last more than a day with someone like this, you know? But I digress. So anyway, Chelsea, at this point, she senses that Jimmy might still really be feeling Jessica. And so she decides to get a leg up on the competition by lying. She straight up claims, and she pretends she doesn't even know who this woman is. Everyone knows who Megan Fox is. right? Especially millennials. She is that girl. She is a bombshell. She is gorgeous, okay? So Chelsea, the liar, she goes, you know what? Like, people always say I look like that girl. Who is she? I don't know her. Machine Gun Kelly's like girl or wife. It's like, who knows Machine Gun Kelly? Someone please name a Machine Gun Kelly song or die. Sorry, we're all dying. I don't know a Machine Gun Kelly song, and most people do that I know don't. I don't think I know a single person who could name a MGK song, okay? But everybody knows who Megan Fox is. She was that girl before MGK was even a thought in Hollywood. So for her to pretend she didn't know who she was, she's like, yeah, people always claim I look like her. Girl, stop. Stop. You know good and goddamn well you do not look like Megan Fox. I think she did that to get a leg up on Jessica, and that is going to bite her in the behind, because guess what? Eventually, Jimmy's gonna see Chelsea, and he can see with his own eyes that she looks nothing like Megan Fox. And then eventually, Jimmy's gonna see who's the Jessica. And then he's gonna go, between the two of them, Jessica's more like Megan Fox. What the heck is this, you know? And that's gonna affect her relationship. And so, believing Chelsea's lie, Jimmy goes, what? Megan Fox? Let's get married now. Like, he jokingly says that. But you know that was the deciding factor for him. He's like, okay, this one, I don't know what she looks like, and she's got a kid. This one ain't got no kid, and she tells me she looks like Megan Fox. It's a no-brainer who he's going to choose, you know? And now Jess and Jimmy, they've got their pod date next, and she cries about her mom guilt and missing her daughter and everything, and he just seems super checked out, because at this point, again, like I just said, he's like, the other one is the safer bet here. Like, he doesn't want to deal with all this stuff, right? But he does try and make an effort. And so he asks Jessica to talk a little bit about Autumn's personality, and she does. Then Jess shares about her rough upbringing. Her mom lost her to foster care. Then she was in and out of prison, the mom, not Jessica. And her dad got custody of her for a little bit, but then he committed, suicide, and it's just a lot going on. And so to me, hearing that, it kind of makes a little bit more sense how she wound up getting pregnant as a teenager, with all that she had going on. She does seem very, very well adjusted, though, for what it's worth. And now, listen, Jess is a very, very pretty girl. I said that in episode 1, but I will also say that she looked about 40 years old or more in the pods in this specific episode. Like, I don't know if it's the hairstyle. It's like, that like kind of like older vintage hairstyle going on, or if it's like the work she's had done. Like, it's good work that she's had done, but it does age her. But yeah, I just kind of noticed that this episode. I was like, oh, let's slow down on that hairstyle or whatever's going on here, but I digress. Now, Trevor. Does anyone else feel like Trevor reminds them of Brett? Brett and Tiffany from that one season. Like, I don't know. He gives me white version of Brett vibes. I really like him. He seems to be really sure about his connection with Chelsea, and I'm so nervous for him about that, because I think that he's going to get his heart broken. It doesn't feel like Chelsea is sold on him. It feels like Chelsea wants to win against a girl like Jessica, And I think that that's more important to her than actually being deep into a connection, if that makes any sense. And so even though Chelsea doesn't seem to be like really like genuinely into him, she plays the part just to have him like, continuing to invest in her, and she's giving me F girl vibes. So I'm not really liking her too much so far, to be honest with you. Now, Johnny, he got Amy her favorite flowers, which I thought was really sweet, and they talk about becoming each other's best friends. He asks her to make him 2 promises. Number 1 is to tell him when he does something wrong so that he can fix it. Number 2 is to promise to be together until the end and to not let outside forces ruin them. And she agrees to both. And she says that both things go both ways, which is wonderful of her. He proposes and she accepts, which is really exciting. Our first engagement of the season. Now, Matt and AD talk the next day, and he tries to get her to admit that Amber leaving was about him. Like, he didn't want to talk about AD. He's like, what about that other girl? Was it because of me that she left? She loved me so hard that she had to go. And AD was not cracking. She's like, I don't know. That's, everybody has their own different reasons for leaving. Like, that's her own thing. And then this fool talks about, oh, I still like you, Matt. What is there about this guy to like AD? Just say that you want to be liked and you want to be validated, like, because this is just so foolish. So then all of a sudden he launches into some weird tirade about like what Americans want to see on TV, who's the underdog. Like, they want to see an underdog. They want to see a comeback. America's going to be on his side. Is he talking to the voices in his head? Because I'm a little scared here. It's like I said, episode 1, I think he's got an antisocial personality disorder. I don't know if it's sociopathy. I don't know if it's psychopathy. I don't know if it's any of the other things, but I feel like something is seriously wrong with him, okay? And he makes my skin crawl and he makes my blood turn cold, like just plain weird. So at this point, he refuses to dump AD even though he wants to. But remember, he's thinking about how America's going to view him. So he forces her to dump him by saying that he doesn't like the way she sounds today. He feels like she doesn't like him. Did she not just tell you that she likes you a lot, Matt? After all the F shit you pulled, like, what are you talking about? And like, it's just all so psychotic. But I don't feel bad for AD because, girl, that is what you get for sticking around after he already showed you who he was. Okay, like, this is why you're supposed to leave at the first sign of mess with your dignity intact, the way that Amber did. But you didn't, and now you're getting played for a fool on TV. So at this point, Matt ends his speech and he starts fake crying with not a single tear in sight by saying that he broke someone's heart on national television and America's going to be watching. I'm like, you are so unhinged. I thought they were supposed to do mental health evaluations. I don't know how he would have passed because, like, there's something deeply wrong with him, you know? Just plain weird. So he walks into the men's chambers and he's like, I'm going to go get Amber. Who told you Amber wanted you? She left. If she wanted you, she wouldn't have ghosted on you. Like, run faster, Amber, please. And like, carry some pepper spray because this man is terrifying. So just a whole ass mess. Now, to finish up the episode, we get the big reveal between Johnny and Amy, but not yet their reactions. We just see them both looking at each other and going, wow. So stick around for episode 3's recap on that, okay? So do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And also, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on what went down on episode 2. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.